Good evening to everyone and welcome to today's session. Ravi, Kamble, Bibash, Anu, Dabi, Alek, Rituraj and many more who are all online. Let's continue our journey with biochemistry. We have a few more topics left over, another couple of days of discussion. So we already discussed citric acid cycle, glycolysis, ketone bodies, urea cycle. They're all the crucial topics. Without that, there's no question paper. So let us continue with electrolytes. What is the normal serum potassium level? Typically, it is 3.8 to 5 milliequivalents per liter. Normal serum calcium level, it is 9 to 11 milligrams per deciliter. You should not miss. These are all the common investigations. Good to see 36 online students. Can you please punch whether the voice is loud and clear? Prachi, Suhani Patak and many more. Please keep punching the answers. Inside the cell, the substance which contributes predominantly to the osmolarity is which one? Potassium is the principal intracellular ion. What is the effect of insulin on potassium, doctor? Insulin on potassium. So potassium is the principal intracellular ion. Insulin promotes the entry of the potassium into the cell. So when the insulin is deficient, potassium remains outside the cell in the plasma and that increases the serum potassium level. Then what is the effect of acidosis, H plus ion? H plus competes with K plus. Hydrogen ion and potassium ion compete with each other to make an entry into the cell. So that is the reason whenever there is high H plus ion, potassium is prevented to enter into the cell. So that is the reason acidosis lead to hyperkalemia. Acidosis lead to hyperkalemia is what you need to fundamentally remember. That's good. What is the normal level of the serum phosphorus? You should remember 2.45 to 4.5 milligram percentage is the normal level of the serum potassium, serum phosphorus. In the extracellular fluid, who is the main electrolyte, doctor? It is the sodium which is the principal extracellular cation. Potassium is the principal intracellular cation. That is what you have to emphatically understand. Which is the best site for the absorption of the calcium? So in the kidney, the proximal segment of the, in the intestine, the proximal segment of the small intestine, duodenum, is the main point at which calcium get absorbed is what you need to understand. So intestinal calcium absorption occurs 90% in the small intestine, 10% in the colon. That's what we need to remember. And both paracellular, transcellular are the two ways by which the absorption occur. Now what are the sources of the calcium is a very important question. It is heavily raining in Hyderabad. Any time we may go out of broadcast. So apologize me. Because in this place, unfortunately, if the power is gone, though we have a UPS, internet connection stops. That's a big problem in this commercial building, right? So sometimes we need to find some alternative. So apologize me if the power is gone, if the broadcast we are out. So now the question comes. Poorest source of calcium. Rice is the poorest source of calcium. So these are all the calcium rich foods, doctor, be very sure, right? Some of you, whatever the specialty you belong, nutrition is a very important question. If you sit in obstetrics OPD, patient will ask 10 questions, not about intricate things in obstetrics. They will ask simple things. Can I eat tamarind? Oh yeah, you can eat. Can I have lemon juice? Yes, you can have. After that they will ask, can I eat papaya? So finally, what matters the most is, nutrition is a language by which you get connected to the patient. You talk like a top nutritional knowledge that you have to the patient. He will say, this doctor is a good doctor. Huh? So be very sure these are all the calcium rich foods. Hyponatremia, how do you define? The serum sodium level less than 135 is called as hyponatremia. Normally 135 to 145 is the serum sodium. The moment hyponatremia is there, you develop giddiness, you become altered sensorium, etc., etc. Now, TTX resistant voltage gated sodium ion channels, which is the one? This was actually a question of the All India MDS entrance biochemistry question. To become a top dentist and knowing TTX resistant voltage gated sodium, any relation? No. But entrance exam is a filter, right? So no worries on that. NAV 1.8. So fundamentally NAV 1.8 is a sodium channel subtype, and the voltage gated sodium channels are the ones which are required for the propagation of the action potential. You know, myelinated nerve has nodes of Ranvier, and there is a propagation of action potential. For that you require these voltage gated sodium channels. Tetrodotoxin, TTX means tetrodotoxin, is a toxin produced by the puffer fish and is able to block some of these voltage gated sodium channels, is what you have to basically remember. The best source of potassium. What is the best source of potassium? I am very happy to see 64 online students fatafat across country. Today, some students all the way from Srinagar in Jammu Kashmir have joined. I am so happy because, in fact, we should thank YouTube. यहाँ बारिश गिर रहा है बाहर, भाड़ हो रहे, फिर भी there is a chance that we all can meet up, debate, discuss, reignite ourselves in our quest to become the toppers in the NEET PG. So, doctor, best source of potassium. Keep punching your answers, doctor. So, dried fruits are always the best. Bananas, oranges, apricots, grapefruits. Similarly, some dried fruits like prunes, dates, they are very high in potassium, is what you have to emphatically remember. So that is the story, doctor, about the electrolytes, which is one of the favorite topic of the examiner. Next comes the topic of iron. Iron ke bare mein, let's become the champions. What are all the foods where iron is present? I mean, what are all the substances where iron is required? Catalase, cytochromes, myoglobin. For the production of all this, you require the iron. Ferritin is a inactive form of the iron, and where is it basically stored? It is stored in the liver. Highest binding of the iron in the plasma. To which protein iron is highly bound? Yes, transferrin, right? Transferrin iron binding capacity is a way to assess the iron deficiency. When there is iron deficiency, TIBC, transferrin iron binding capacity, will increase. It is one of the marker. And what is a very early and a sensitive indicator of iron deficiency? Low ferritin levels. Decreased ferritin is the sensitive index of the iron deficiency, is what you have to basically remember. So, iron bound to transferrin, the iron which is bound to transferrin is less than 4 milligrams of total body iron. But it is the most important vital pool of the iron in the body, is what you need to remember. Now, in the human body, which is the trace element in abundance, in quantity, next only to iron, second most abundant trace element. Zinc is the one which is the second most abundant. What is the daily requirement of iron in the man? These are all the fundamental questions, doctor, both preventive medicine, physiology. सारे जगह पे required daily allowance is the favorite topic. So you should remember 10 milligrams is the required daily allowance, is what you need to remember. So the daily oral iron and folate supplementation you must be very, very sure about. 30 to 60 milligrams of elemental iron and 400 micrograms, which is 0.4 milligrams of the folate is recommended. Recommended for all the pregnant women is what you need to remember. So this is one of the very, very important question in the exam. So doctor, if you look at the required daily allowance of iron in milligrams, typically in a 19 to 50-year-old male, it is about 8 milligrams. Female, it is 18 milligrams. Pregnant woman, 27 milligrams. And breastfeeding, 9 milligrams. So you need to be very sure on the iron requirements in the case of the men and women in the among the adults, right? So this is a favorite table. So all these favorite tables are made available in the online mbbs.com video library. Every video is accompanied by a PPT. कभी कभी वीडियो सुनना बोले तो बोर लगता, तो my advice is just run through PPT, right? If you run through PPT, you have a question explanation. If you are able to play with that, you don't need video to be reviewed. But the whole idea is, end of the game, if you are a very good prepared student, then the 30,000 MCQs that have been discussed, debated and placed in the online mbbs.com video library, you should be in a position at least एक revision मारना है पूरा 19 subjects का. That is the deal. Okay, doc? So, how you do it is your choice. You listen video. Otherwise, you can be able to run through the PPT and can be able to finish revision, fine. Keep your own 200 pages notebook. That is what you need to do the most. Huh? Now, iron absorption is decreased in the presence of what will decrease iron absorption? Phytates, tannins, phosphates, they all decrease. Whereas ascorbic acid increases the iron absorption. So doctor, quickly few facts about the iron you should be 100% sure about. What is the content of the iron? Total body iron कितना होता है? 3 to 5 grams is the total body iron. 75% of this is there in the blood. And you have myoglobin, hemoglobin and cytochromes. In सारे चीजों में you have the iron. Then catalase is the enzyme where you require iron inside it. Xanthin oxidase is an enzyme which has an iron. Tryptophan pyrrolase Tryptophan pyrrolase also has iron. Peroxidase is another enzyme which has the iron, is what you need to remember. Now, the liver, meat, green leafy vegetables, egg yolk, whole grains, dates, cereals, liver, meat, green leafy vegetables, egg yolk, wheat and whole grains, dates and cereals. They are the ones which are very rich in iron, the iron rich foods which you need to typically remember. Then another favorite question of the examiner, jaggery. Jaggery is very rich in iron. Now, is the milk rich? Is a good source? No, sir. Milk is a poor source of iron. Typically, it has less than 0.1 milligram per 100 ml of milk. So, milk is poor source of iron. Now, if you look at the required daily allowance, yes, required daily allowance. Adult man, postmenopausal women 10 milligrams, premenopausal women 15 to 20 milligrams, pregnant women 30 to 60 milligrams is a requirement of the iron, is what you need to remember. Ritesh Raja is asking, sir, I have registered for online MBBS. How can I access videos and MCQs? Very good question, doctor. 9000868 doctor. This is the number. Even midnight you call also, they will pick up the call. Not because of the love for you. Please be very sure. They are hoping that you will join and pay fee. That is the whole purpose. Don't be confused. So, it is their responsibility to explain you what is the schedule, where are the individual lessons under every day, and where is the quiz, everything they will help you. So, please do call. Nature is asking, anyone who have the PPT links, please share. Very good question. I will share. Just give a call, Nature, to the helpline, and they will help you to subscribe at the best affordable discounted price, and then you have all this content made available, is what I like to tell you. Yeah. Now, Pradeep is asking, what is the reason behind iron deficiency anemia if a kid is exclusively fed? Because there is a calcium which is blocking the iron absorption, or is it because of the low iron levels in the milk? Both of them, mainly because of the low iron levels in the milk. Now, iron helps mainly in transport, storage, utilization of oxygen, etc., etc. Now, why ascorbic acid is required for the iron absorption? So, fundamentally, ferric ions are reduced by the ascorbic acid and also glutathione in the food, and they make it a more soluble ferrous ion. That is the main advantage, is what you need to remember. So, doctor, now you are able to see how useful are these online sessions and how outdated are the face-to-face classes. Online session में chat में कुछ भी chat कर सकते, किसी के साथ बात कर सकते, at the same time lecture भी सुन सकते. Teacher also answers you instantly. You don't have that facility in a didactic face-to-face classes, day-long classes. They are very boring, right? So, iron is mainly absorbed in ferrous form. Ascorbic acid and cysteine favor the reduction of the ferrous form of the ferric form of the iron into ferrous form, is what you need to remember. Whereas the phytates, phosphates, they are all the ones which decrease the iron absorption. Similarly, echlorohydria. Typically, if there is no acid in the stomach, the ferric cannot become ferrous, so it interferes with the absorption. So that's the reason those people who have pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia, basically your parietal cells are damaged, autoimmune damage. No parietal cells, no acid. If there is no acid, no intrinsic factor, both of them will happen in pernicious anemia. Because parietal cells produce acid and intrinsic factor. No intrinsic factor, you get vitamin B12 deficiency. No acid and echlorohydria predisposes to iron deficiency is what you need to remember. Now, whenever the iron is absorbed into the mucosal cells, then it is reoxidized into ferric form. And for that you require this enzyme called ferroxidase. And this Fe plus 3, which is being absorbed ultimately, it combines with the apoferritin to form the ferritin, which is the temporary storage form of the iron, is what you need to remember. And now it is the transferrin which has a high affinity for that iron absorbed, and it is the one which carries the iron in the plasma, is what you have to ultimately remember. So how much iron do we excrete per day, doctor? 1 milligram per day is what we basically excrete. And mainly excretion of the iron occur through intestine. We don't lose the iron into urine. But if you are having nephrotic syndrome, those who have nephrotic syndrome, there is a loss of transferrin, and along with the transferrin, the iron bound to transferrin also is lost into the urine, is what you need to remember. So there are the few things, at least 5-6 points catch karna. Required daily elements of iron kya hai? What increases and decreases the absorption of the iron? Is it the ferrous or ferric important? Is it ferritin or transferrin important? These are the things examiner is going to test you, because iron is one topic. फिजियोलॉजी में आयरन है, पैथोलॉजी में आयरन है, प्रिवेंटिव मेडिसिन में आयरन है, जनरल मेडिसिन में आयरन है, सारे जगह पे आयरन है, पीडियाट्रिक्स में आयरन है. If you don't iron it out properly, you are losing 1 mark and 10,000 people will walk on your head in the competition. Transport form of iron is transferrin. Iron is found in myoglobin, cytochrome, catalase, etc., etc. Iron is stored mainly bound to apoferritin. Chief regulator of the systemic iron homeostasis. Who says more iron shall be absorbed or less iron should be absorbed? Who is the one who decides that typical export-import of the iron? Who is that foreign minister? It is the hepcidin, is what you need to remember. So fundamentally, hepcidin has multitude of functions. Inflammation makes hepcidin increase, and in turn hepcidin inhibits the duodenal enterocyte absorption of the iron, and typically hepcidin acts on the hepatocytes and Kupffer cells, and it is a regulator of the plasma iron. So typically whenever the body iron decreases, it lowers the hepcidin synthesis in the liver. Hepcidin deficiency targets the duodenum and spleen, and a low hepcidin makes duodenal absorption of the iron to increase, and a high hepcidin will decrease. So this is a very important point. And whenever the hepcidin is decreased, the splenic iron is released into the circulation. So ultimately the purpose of the hepcidin is to tell the body when there is iron deficiency, there is a low hepcidin. And the low hepcidin is an important sensor that makes the body to absorb more iron. So that is what is the relation, inverse relation is there between the hepcidin and the iron absorption. So iron deficiency decreases the hepcidin, and decreased hepcidin will make duodenum to increase absorption of the iron. You have to be very, very sure about. Right, doc? So that is all the story about the iron. So most of these topics Few questions. Significant part of the story we already finished. In the first 300 questions only, most of the things are done. But still there are 550 questions in the last 15 years, last 20 years of the MDS entrance exam. डेंटल वालों का, क्योंकि एमडी वालों का सारा चीजें हम डिस्कस डिबेट करके रख दिया onlinembbs.com में. पीजीआई, जिपमा, एम्स, ऑल इंडिया, डीएनबी एंड एफएमजी एंड ऑल these exams का individual subject question banks are debated, discussed like this kind of wonderful evenings with different generations of students. So finally MDS students came forward and said, sir, हमारे लिए भी जरा coaching शुरू करो basic sciences का. So MDS entrance के लिए people have to read anatomy, physiology, biochem, micro, pharma, patho, medicine, surgery and community dentistry, which is more or less similar to our biostatistics and all. Ultimately examiner is same. NEET board, naughty board, which will ask naughty questions in exam. So the question bank is very similar, right? So fraction of the next topic is isozymes. Fraction of the CPK is an enzyme that is elevated in MI. Which one? So CPK has many isozymes. MB fraction is the one which increases in myocardial infarction. In myocardial infarction, which is the first enzyme to rise? CPK. The enzyme that catalyzes the same reaction but differs in the physical properties. What do you like to call that as? That is the definition of isozyme. The combination of the main supporting enzyme is called holozyme, right? Isozyme and the main enzyme. Lactate dehydrogenase has got a lot of isozymes basically. When the prosthetic group of an enzyme is a inorganic ion, you have a lot of kinases in which magnesium is a important inorganic ion which acts like a cofactor. That's the definition of a cofactor. Enzyme which is stored in the muscle is which one? So you should remember it is the CPK. Whenever you get any myopathy, myositis, then the CPK levels get elevated, right? Now, inactive precursors of the enzymes are called proenzymes. LDH has how many isoenzymes? It has 5 isoenzymes, LDH 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, fundamentally 1 and 2 are there in myocardium and RBC. It is the LDH1 which is typically raised in myocardial infarction. Then LDH5 is mainly there in the skeletal muscle and liver. That is the reason any skeletal muscle pathology or a liver disease, LDH5 is the one which is typically elevated, is what you need to remember, this important single liner. Serum creatinine kinase 3, CPK3, where is it elevated? Typically it is elevated in muscular dystrophy. So you should remember, doctor, there is one CK1, CK2, CK3. CK1 is called BB, CK2 is called MB, CK3 is called MM, right? So I am CK2. People lovingly call me MB sir, Murali Bharadwaj. So MB is CK2. हम दिल के अंदर है, मायोकार्डियम के अंदर है. Acute MI में MB will elevate, right? So be very sure to not get an acute MI. CK2 is MB. CK1 is BB, brain. किसको रहता? सांप को रहता या BB को रहता दिमाग? BB को दिमाग रहता. So BB is CNS disease, CK1. CK3 finally is MM, and MM is in skeletal muscle and any muscle pathology, typically it is elevated. So that is all the story, doctor, about isozymes. Next comes pentose phosphate pathway. What is the other name given for it? Hexose monophosphate shunt. So you have to be very sure about this topic. Which is the step in the HMP pathway, hexose monophosphate shunt, that require thiamine pyrophosphate, vitamin B1. It is the transketolase which require the TPP. Now let us talk a bit on hexose monophosphate shunt. All of you know glucose क्या होता है glucose को? Glucose become glucose 6 phosphate, become fructose 6 phosphate, become fructose 1 6 phosphate, become 1,3 diphosphoglycerate. Oh, all that story of glycolysis, you know. Glycolysis is the main way by which glucose is metabolized. Alternative method of glucose metabolism after it becomes glucose 6 phosphate is the HMP pathway. So why is HMP pathway required? HMP, hexose monophosphate shunt, is required for 3 purposes. Good to see 70 online students. आपके दोस्तों को भी लाना रोज शाम, हमको कुछ भी काम नहीं है. डॉक्टर मुरली भरद्वाज इज जॉबलेस बोल के बोलना, खाली पढ़ाई देना हमारा काम है. हमारा जाति है और हमारा धर्म भी, राइट? इट इज माय रिलीजियन and it is my tribe to teach, and without meeting all my tribe men, my evening is not over. So please call all your friends, tell them it's a free session, absolutely. Now doctor, HMP pathway, it lead to formation of NADPH, and it is also very important to maintain glutathione in a reduced form, reduced glutathione. And HMP pathway produces the ribose which is required for the nucleotide synthesis. NADPH in turn will provide the reducing equivalents which are required for the fatty acids and steroids. Biosynthesis of these, all biosynthetic pathways, NADPH, all biodegradative catabolic pathways. You have NADH in catabolic pathways, but NADPH is from biosynthetic pathways, is what you have to emphatically remember. Now doctor, where does pentose phosphate pathway occur? When it comes to the HMP pathway, hardly there will be about 10 points to remember doctor. अभी मैं आप सबको pentose phosphate pathway में महाज्ञानी बनाऊंगा. 10 points like a parrot you should tell. First point, it occurs in cytosol. Glycolysis happen in cytosol. Pentose phosphate pathway occurs in cytosol. So already we have discussed once. What are the pathways that occur in mitochondria, in cytosol? आपके 200 pages book के अंदर लिखा क्या? लिखना. That is very important. That is your personal Bible, Lawrence. Be very sure, right? So typically it is the NADP plus become NADPH, not NADH, NADPH. That is what happens in pentose phosphate pathway. Now, in the pentose phosphate pathway, you have 2 phases. One is called a irreversible oxidative phase. Second is a reversible non-oxidative phase. Whiteboard का बहुत आदत हो गया डॉक्टर साहब. I also got addicted to this whiteboard. So pentose phosphate pathway has 2 steps. What are they? Irreversible oxidative pathway. Second, reversible non-oxidative phase. 2 phases. Irreversible oxidative phase में क्या होता है? 3 molecules of glucose 6 phosphate become converted into 3 molecules of oxygen and 5 carbon sugars. 3 5 carbon sugars. That is what? 3 glucose 6-phosphate molecules become 3 molecules of 5 carbon sugars and 3 carbon dioxide molecules. Because glucose is a 6 carbon, na? So 1 carbon plus 5 carbon sugar. That's what will form. This is irreversible. Oxidative, irreversible. Remember. Then reversible is non-oxidative. It will regenerate 2 molecules of glucose 6-phosphate and 1 molecule of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. That is the pentose phosphate pathway is what you need to remember. Right? Now, if you look at the oxidative phase, what are the things that are happening? Glucose 6-phosphate becomes 6-phosphogluconate. What is this enzyme called? 6-phosphate glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. G6PD. In the process, who is generated? NADPH is generated. 6-phosphogluconate become ribulose 5-phosphate, which is a 5 carbon sugar we said, no? And during that 1 more NADPH is produced and carbon dioxide is released. And what is this enzyme called as? 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase. Whiteboard को बताएंगे. Whiteboard को बताए तो ही हमारे दिमाग के अंदर बैठ जाएगा. This is like our sensory and motor cortex. The whiteboard is like sensory cortex, doctor. इसके ऊपर लिखे तो ही it will record in the brain, right? कभी-कभी वैसा हो जाता. Especially biochemistry, like dry subjects. Glucose 6-phosphate become 6-phosphogluconate. In the process, what is produced, doctor? NADP become NADPH. One encashment of the check is over. And what is this enzyme called? G6PD. 6-phosphogluconate will give rise to 5 carbon sugar. What is that? Ribulose 5-phosphate. And what is this? During this process, what happens? NADP become NADPH and releases 1 carbon dioxide. 1 decarboxylation occur. Hence, this step is called 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase is what you need to remember. So, this is the first part. Then you have a non-oxidative part where this ribulose phosphate, 2 enzymes act on it. One, ribose 5-phosphate ketoisomerase. Second is ribulose 5-phosphate 3-epimerase. The ribose 5-phosphate ketoisomerase will convert this ribulose 5-phosphate into ribose 5-phosphate. And that ribose 5-phosphate is used for all our nucleic acids. Then this epimerase will act on it, and when epimerase acts on it, it will form the xylulose 5-phosphate. Xylulose 5-phosphate and ribose 5-phosphate, they both are what? 2 5 carbon ones. So they both react to form 1 3 carbon glyceraldehyde and a 7 carbon Z-heptulose 7-phosphate. For that you require trans-ketolase. Then the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and Z-heptulose is also acted upon by trans-aldolase. If trans-aldolase act on it, it will produce fructose 6-phosphate, which is a 6 carbon, and erythrose 4-phosphate, which is a 4 carbon. Then erythrose 4-phosphate and xylulose 5-phosphate react, and they form fructose 6-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. And For the trans ketolase, you require magnesium and thymine pyrophosphate. Subsequently, fructose 6-phosphate, you know how to use that. Fructose 6-phosphate can be made glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate can be done, made anything in the world you want. So that is what basically is done. So this is the typical story, doctor. Hum jara this 3 carbon, 5 carbon, 10 carbon, iske bare mein jara more detailed aage badhenge. So let us make a big start, doctor. What is the first step? Already we finished. Glucose 6-phosphate becomes 6-phosphogluconate. 6-phosphogluconate become ribulose 5-phosphate. Ribulose 5-phosphate is used for ribulose 5-phosphate is being formed. Now, what happens to ribulose 5-phosphate? Ribulose 5-phosphate, if the epimerase act on it, it will become xylulose 5-phosphate. Then, if isomerase act on it, ribulose ka isomer is ribose. Ribose 5-phosphate is formed. Now, this is a 5 carbon one, this is a 5 carbon. 5 plus 5 banega 10. So, if the trans ketolase acts on this ketolase, which has thymine pyrophosphate, thymine, right? So, what will form? 7 carbon wala Z-heptulose 5-phosphate is formed, and 3 carbon wala glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is formed. फिर और एक बार क्रॉस करो. What is formed? Transaldolase, if it acts on it, what will happen? This is 7 वाला, this is 3 वाला. 7 plus 3 10 हो गया. 10 बोले तो आपको 4 वाला erythrose 5-phosphate and 6 carbon fructose 6-phosphate are basically formed. So ribulose बन गया xylulose ribose. Xylulose ribose शादी करके Z-heptulose glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate बनाया. ये दोनों शादी करके erythrose 5-phosphate and fructose 6-phosphate बनाया. So this is how the things happen. Now, this xylulose 5-phosphate, if it happened to combine with fructose 6-phosphate and if trans ketolase acts on it, then what can form, doctor? Xylulose 5-phosphate is 5 carbon sugar. Fructose 6-phosphate is 6 carbon sugar. Then it can form a glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and fructose 6-phosphate regenerated. So these are the various things happen, but the point of interest you need to have is trans ketolase, which has the thiamine, is a very important enzyme in the process. अगर thiamine का deficiency हो गया, beriberi हो गया, trans ketolase नहीं मिल गया, then the pentose phosphate pathway will get interrupted, is what you have to remember. Now, why do you need pentose phosphate pathway and NADPH? Number one, fatty acid biosynthesis के लिए you require NADPH. Certain amino acids, when they are being produced, you need glutamate dehydrogenase. Glutamate dehydrogenase uses NADPH. The antioxidant glutathione, which lead to the hydrogen peroxide get reduced, that require NADPH. For the detoxification of the drugs, cytochrome P450, NADPH is used as a reducing, to provide reducing equivalents. Phagocytosis, that is your macrophages, when they are killing the organism, they require to produce strong reducing equivalents. That comes from NADPH. And what is that condition? Where G6PD deficiency ke wajah se, if there is a G6PD deficiency, pentose phosphate pathway cannot function. G6PD is that initial enzyme, right? So G6PD, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. If that is deficient, you get chronic granulomatous disease. Chronic granulomatous disease may phagocytes cannot be able to produce sufficient reducing equivalents. NADPH is not available. So they develop immunodeficiency. So chronic granulomatous disease is fundamentally associated with G6PD deficiency, and problem in the pentose phosphate pathway is what you need to remember. Similarly, if the RBC cell membrane need to be integrated, constantly there is a free radical injury happening from the oxygen free radicals. They need to be reduced. So RBC membrane constantly require NADPH. If NADPH is not there, RBC cell membrane gets broken, you develop hemolysis. That is the reason G6PD deficient people who take anti-malarials, they develop hemolysis because cell membrane is vulnerable to the free radical injury and you require constant supply of the NADPH is what you need to remember. Now, what is the importance of pentose sugar produced in the pentose phosphate pathway? Pentose phosphate pathway. So, typically ribose phosphate is used in the nucleic acid production. Now, if there is any G6PD deficiency, typically those people, if they receive anti-malarial primaquine, that lead to a lot of free radicals and that lead to the hemolysis is what you need to remember. Then if there is any thiamine deficiency, how do you identify that? Inside the RBCs, you look for the transketolase activity. RBCs have pentose phosphate pathway, intact pentose phosphate pathway. Because pentose phosphate pathway happens in cytosol. So RBCs do have cytosol. They may not have mitochondria, but they have cytosol. So that is the reason RBC transketolase activity is an important indicator of the thiamine is what you need to remember. Thiamine levels. Thiamine deficiency identified by low transketolase activity. Now doctor, where do you have the HMP shunt? Wherever there is a lot of steroid synthesis, wherever there is for example, liver is the place where a lot of detoxification occurs. It requires a lot of NADPH. So liver, WBCs, testis, lactating mammary gland, they are the main places for NADPH, requirement for NADPH. Hence, there will be high pentose phosphate pathway. So, 10% of the glucose typically enters into pentose phosphate pathway. The liver and the RBC, they metabolize about 30% of the glucose they use only for producing NADPH. That is the reducing equivalents के लिए ही इस्तेमाल करते हैं. What is the main budget is used for? Defense. Country should be saved first, right? From predators. Similarly, liver and RBC's main utilization of the glucose किसके लिए? To produce sufficient NADPH and free radical detoxification के लिए 30% of the glucose is used in pentose phosphate pathway. So where is this is located, doctor? It is there in the cytosol. Liver, adipose, adrenal, erythrocytes, testis, lactating mammary gland, they are highly active in the HMP shunt. So glucose 6-phosphate deficiency, where do you see, doctor? We see it in von Geig's disease. So in von Geig's disease, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, the first enzyme, the deficiency is there. Now, in glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, what are the important things that happen? You find hyperuricemia. There is a increased mobilization of the glycogen from the liver, and there is a defective Cori cycle. They are all the features. In the von Geig's, you can get the gout. Now the question comes, if the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase is deficient, why should you get the gout? Is a very important question, doctor. So you should remember that typically in the people who have von Geig, their glucose cannot be used in the aerobic pathway, rather more glucose is used in anaerobic pathway. Because of that, lot of lactic acid is formed, and a high lactic acid in the kidney tubules interfere with the reabsorption of the uric acid, will interfere with the secretion of the uric acid. So uric acid get collected in the plasma. That is the reason there is a hyperuricemia because of the lactic acidosis which is seen in the von Geig disease, which is the underlying cause for the development of the hyperuricemia, is what you should basically remember. Now doctor, what is the main regulatory enzyme of the pentose phosphate pathway? Fundamentally, the end product. What is the end product? NADPH. If you have sufficient NADPH, do you need HM patient? You don't need. So NADPH is a strong inhibitor of the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, and it inhibits the pentose phosphate pathway. High levels of NADPH are the strong inhibitor, is what you need to remember. Similarly, if there is an increased insulin by glucagon ratio, that means if there is a high insulin, when will you have high insulin? If you eat a lot of carbohydrate, if you have a lot of blood glucose. When there is a high glucose, glycolysis becomes speeded up, and also the alternate pathway for the glucose metabolism is the pentose phosphate pathway. So even pentose phosphate pathway is speeded up, increased, accelerated in the presence of high insulin and high blood glucose, is what you have to basically remember. So few points about this G6PD deficiency. How is it inherited? One of the favorite questions of the examiner. So it is X-linked recessive trait, just like hemophilia. And RBC are the ones which are most affected. And typically in the RBC, the hemoglobin, if there is no G6PD, there is no NADPH, because there is no pentose phosphate pathway. So all that free radical, oxygen free radicals attack the hemoglobin, and the denatured hemoglobin inside the RBC, if you look through microscope in a person with G6PD deficiency, it appears like hinge bodies, is what you need to basically remember. Hinge body. That's the reason G6PD deficiency associated hemolytic anemia is also called hinge body anemia, is what you need to remember. Now, why is HMP shunt such a popular story? Because it is required for the production of NADPH. What are the various products of HMP shunt? NADPH, said-heptulose, fructose 6-phosphate, said-heptulose is the intermediate. Ultimate end products are glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate, and NADPH are the end products. Said-heptulose is the intermediate product. How is NADPH generated? Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, when it acts, lead to the production of NADPH. The most common enzyme deficiency in human beings is the G6PD deficiency. A lot of people will have. That's the reason before you administer Primaquine as an anti-malarial, you have to be doubly sure the person is not having G6PD deficiency. The genetic deficiency of NADPH oxidase typically lead to chronic granulomatous disease. So, the people who have chronic granulomatous disease, they have a problem in NADPH oxidase, and that will lead to a decreased amount of cellular, ability of the cell to kill the organisms, and it is X-linked and also autosomal recessive. Both the ways the chronic granulomatous disease can become transmitted. There's a defect in the intracellular killing is what you have to remember. Now, which reaction does not happen in mitochondria, but it happens in cytosol? Now you are Mahagyani. You should not do a mistake of this kind of questions. HMP shunt, cytosol. Citric acid cycle, mitochondria. Urea cycle, both cytosol, mitochondria. Beta oxidation of fatty acids, mitochondria. Whereas beta fatty acid synthesis, cytosol. So all that cell compartments where these reactions occur, no doctor, examiner har ek exam mein question puchega. You have to be 100% sure about. So doc, let's take up the next topic for the evening. Very, very easy topic, which is vitamin B12. After this, we will go for the quiz. I am so happy to see 70 online students in the today's evening. Yes. Now, doc. Two vitamins whose derivatives are required in the transformation of serine to glycine is a very, very important question. So, doctor, you require folate and pyridoxine to convert serine into glycine. अच्छा, इसका स्टोरी क्या है देखेंगे. Serine, by the action of pyridoxal phosphate, typically it will also use the tetrahydrofolate and become the glycine. And that is the serine glycine interaction. Malonyl aciduria, where do you see? We see the malonyl aciduria in the deficiency of the vitamin B12. Most of the vitamin B12 in the body, in what form is it stored? It is stored as methyl B12. Where do you get pernicious anemia? It leads to vitamin B12 deficiency. Now, doctor, you should know this story very well. How is vitamin B12 absorbed into the body? Why do you need pancreas? Why do you need stomach for the vitamin B12? Examiner will put a knife on your jugular and ask this question. So, doctor, salivary glands, whole story starts in our mouth. Salivary glands, they produce heptacorin. Heptacorin is the one which is being produced. So, whenever you eat non-vegetarian food, only has B12. Vegans don't have. Vegetarian doesn't have. Green leafy vegetables don't have. Grass doesn't have. So, B12, the moment you eat it, Typically, this B12 combines with this haptocorine produced in the salivary glands and it reaches the stomach. In the stomach, typically parietal cells, they produce HCl and they also produce intrinsic factor. And from the stomach, typically it reaches the duodenum. So this is the place, second part of the duodenum where pancreas is there. Pancreas produce pancreatic proteases. So now this vitamin B12 should bind with the intrinsic factor produced in the stomach. It is waiting to bind with it. But already vitamin B12 किससे शादी किया? हैप्टोकोरिन से. पहला उनसे तलाक लेना है. तलाक लेने के लिए खाजी का जरूरत पड़ेगा. कौन है वो खाजी? पैनक्रियाटिक प्रोटीएस इज दैट खाजी साहब आके बोलेगा तलाक तलाक तलाक. So vitamin B12 and haptocorine said goodbye to each other. Then the vitamin B12 bind with intrinsic factor. So that is the reason people who have pancreatic insufficiency, chronic pancreatitis, who cannot be able to produce Khaji, pancreatic protease, even though there is B12 eaten, even though there is intrinsic factor, still the absorption of the vitamin B12 does not occur because vitamin B12 cannot bind with the intrinsic factor. Then from the duodenum, it will reach terminal ileum. अभी नया दूसरा बेबी मिल गया उनको इंट्रिंसिक फैक्टर. सो विटामिन B12 और इंट्रिंसिक फैक्टर दोनों हनीमून के लिए टर्मिनल इलियम को आ गया. सो टर्मिनल इलियम से they become absorbed and ultimately reach the liver. Liver is America, USA. USA में पास हो गया, दूसरा शादी भी हो गया. अभी एरोप्लेन चाहिए उसको लिवर को जाने के लिए, ब्लड में ट्रैवल करने के लिए. ट्रांसकोबालामिन is that protein which carries this vitamin B12 plus intrinsic factor, takes it to liver. That is what you need to know the story. So pernicious anemia is that autoimmune condition where antibodies are developed against the parietal cells so that intrinsic factor is not produced, and that lead to development of vitamin B12 deficiency, which is then called as leads to megaloblastic anemia, is what you have to remember. Very good. Professor Pradeep Reddy always is very active member. I enjoy having him on the class. Jogren's gastrectomy, ileal removal, chronic pancreatitis, liver failure, anything can lead to vitamin B12 deficiency. So very good, doctor. So only online class में शंकराचार्य और उनका शिष्य दोनों मिलके सारे दुनिया को पढ़ाई दे सकते, right? So let me tell you, doctor, after you become postgraduates, you should continue the tradition of every day to teach. That is a very good thing. That is the only way knowledge is transmitted and should be transmitted. So this is the typical parietal cells. Histopathology, intrinsic factor is being produced by them, right? Now, which mineral is there in vitamin B12, doctor? Vitamin B12 के अंदर cobalamin, cobalt is there. Vitamin B12 is called extrinsic factor of Castle. It requires an intrinsic factor of Castle to marry. Vitamin B12 is absorbed in terminal ileum. Vitamin B12 is the coenzyme to which enzyme you have to be very sure. It is the coenzyme to homocysteine methyl transferase. 2 enzymes के लिए vitamin B12 coenzyme है डॉक्टर. हर एक एग्जाम में एक क्वेश्चन पूछेगा. MDS हो, MD हो, USMLE हो, कुछ भी हो. Biochemistry means vitamins. Predominant topic. So now let us look into that story. Homocysteine becomes methionine, and for this conversion you require methylcobalamin, which is produced from vitamin B12. So vitamin B12 two types of सूट पहन कर सकते, एक सूट है एडिनोसाइल कोबैलामिन, दूसरा सूट है मिथाइल कोबैलामिन. अगर मिथाइल कोबैलामिन बन गया तो वो मिथाइल ग्रुप होमोसिस्टीन को देकर होमोसिस्टीन को मिथ्योनिन बनाएगा. अगर वो एडिनोसाइल कोबैलामिन बन गए तो वो मिथाइल मेलोनाइल कोए को सक्सिनाइल कोए बनाएगा. सो दैट इज व्हाट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर. नाउ डॉक्टर, ये मिथाइल मेलोनाइल कोए क्या है, कहां से तैयार होता? फंडामेंटली you have a propionyl CoA, propionate. Propionate means how many carbons are there, doctor? How many carbons are there? Propyl, methyl means 2, butyl means 4, pentyl is 5, hexyl is 6, propionyl is 3 carbons. Propionyl CoA कहां से तैयार होता है? Suppose if it is a even carbon numbered fatty acid chain समझो. Give an example, palmbutyl CoA, 16 carbons. Every time beta oxidation occur, 2 carbons, acetyl CoA will come out. So 16 become 14, become 12, become 10, become 8, become 6, become 4, become 2. Every time beta oxidation cycle में एक acetyl CoA का release होता है, right doctor? So, but if it is an odd chain fatty acid, odd carbon chain fatty acid, अगर ये 17 है समझो, so यहाँ 4 के जगह पे 5 होता है, 5 से acetyl CoA निकल गए तो beta oxidation, this become 3 carbon. So odd chain fatty acids metabolism end product is propionyl CoA, propionate. Similarly, certain amino acids also when they get metabolized they become propionate. तो इस propionate को कैसे metabolize करना body? What is the way it is thinking? Because if it is acetyl CoA, इसको कहीं भी ले जाके metabolize कर सकते हैं आप. सिट्रिक एसिड साइकिल को भिजा दिए तो वहां मेटाबॉलिज्म हो जाता उसका. प्रोपियोनेट बिकम प्रोपियोनाइल कोए. And who is which is the enzyme involved? It's called acyl CoA synthetase will provide the CoA group. In the process ATP become AMP. Not ADP. ATP become AMP. Favorite question of the examiner. Acyl CoA synthetase का reaction में ATP becomes AMP is what you need to basically remember. Then propionyl CoA become D-methyl melanyl CoA. How does this happen? Propionyl is 3 carbon. अगर आप इसको एक कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड लाके ऐड करें तो 4 carbon molecule get formed. That is methyl melanyl CoA. And what is this enzyme called? Propionyl CoA carboxylase. Because carbon dioxide is getting added. All carboxylation reactions, who is the coenzyme doctor? Fatafat bolo. Biotin is the coenzyme in all carboxylation reactions. तो D-methyl melanyl CoA हो गया. D-methyl melanyl CoA को, what is the principle I told you? All amino acids exist in L form. All carbohydrates exist in D form. D-glucose is predominant glucose. And all LIVO amino acids are predominant. So D-methyl melanyl CoA should become L-methyl malonyl CoA. L-methyl malonyl CoA. Obviously, once L-methyl malonyl CoA forms, this is converted into succinyl CoA. अब भी आ गया succinyl CoA. Because succinyl CoA has a passport to go to America. Where is America? Citric acid cycle is America. So L-methyl malonyl CoA को कोई पासपोर्ट दिलाए तो अमेरिकन सिटीजनशिप दिलाए तो सक्सिनाइल CoA हो जाएगा ना. इसके लिए वो USMLE लिखना पड़ता. So USMLE एग्जाम को क्या बोलते हैं? What is that enzyme called as? Methyl malonyl CoA mutase. It converts itself into L-methyl malonyl CoA becomes succinyl CoA. For this enzyme, methyl malonyl CoA mutase के लिए vitamin B12 is the coenzyme. Please don't forget. This is a favorite question. अगर vitamin B12 deficiency हो गया तो methyl malonic acid excreted into urine, methyl malonic aciduria will happen. And where is biotin required in this story? Propionyl CoA become dimethyl malonyl CoA by the action of propionyl CoA carboxylase. For that you require biotin. So this is very important, doctor, right? So I know this is all there in biochemistry textbook and PPT slides which are available in the notes for you. फिर भी हम सब बैठ के शाम में कुछ भी काम नहीं है ना, आपको सीट आने का काम है, हमको तो जिंदगी तमाम यही रिलीजियन है. सो हम सब बैठ के एक बार पढ़ाई करें तो मिलके, एक बार भजन करें तो भगवान दिखाएगा, right? That should go and sit in your mind, doctor. Very important. So that is one step. L-methyl malonyl CoA to succinyl CoA. Succinyl CoA is very important for hemoglobin synthesis, right? So that is another reason why if vitamin B12 is not there, you will get anemia. Succinyl CoA plus glycine combined to form porphyrins. That is the reason vitamin B12, biotin, ये सब चीजें important है. नहीं तो वो नहीं है तो anemia आएगा, right? So Kishore says, super sir, best teacher. Right? Definitely. All my students are best. Every day evening they come to Vayojan Vidya program, right? So same 6 months every day Rose Ram Naam Bolo सारे MCQs हमारा, हाँ? So Rose भजन करते हुए another 3-4 hours you should go back to the onlinemmbbs.com video library and do the revision. ये सब चीजें हम वहां डिस्कस करके रखे हैं वीडियोस. खाली वीडियोस पढ़ने के लिए मोटिवेशन नहीं मिलता. There are so many apps with video libraries, but live online interactive रहे तो इंस्पिरेशन आना, फिर जाके उसको रिविजन करना. Then methylation of homocysteine to methionine. So you should remember, doctor, homocysteine become methionine. Methionine is very important for the formation of myelin. For this, methylene tetrahydrofolate is the one. Methionine synthetase is the enzyme for which methylcobalamin is the coenzyme. So if vitamin B12 is not there, methionine synthetase cannot work. If it cannot work, homocysteine cannot become methionine. If the methionine is not there, myelin doesn't form. If the myelin is not there, you get demyelination in the pyramidal tract and dorsal columns. Dorsal columns lead to loss of vibration, sensory loss. Pyramidal tract, corticospinal tract leads to motor loss. Both motor and sensory loss है, इसलिए इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Subacute combined degeneration of the spinal cord is the name given for vitamin B12 deficiency, is what you need to remember. So, what are those amino acids whose metabolism lead to propionyl CoA formation? Favorite question of the examiner. Already odd chain fatty acids, cholesterol, propionic acid, they all become propionyl CoA. isoleucine, methionine, threonine, valine, ये 4 चीजें प्रोपियोनाइल को ये बनाएगा. इसके मेटाबॉलिज्म के लिए विटामिन B12 का जरूरत है, बायोटिन का जरूरत है. That is very important point to remember. What are the 4 amino acids that require that become propionyl CoA doctor? और एक बार आपके amygdala, Pepys circuit, emotional memory in the brain के ऊपर लिखो डॉक्टर. What are those amino acids that become propionyl CoA? Isoleucine, methionine, threonine, valine. Isoleucine, methionine, threonine, valine. These things lead to propionyl CoA formation is what you have to basically remember. Now doctor, this is the mother of all slides in this topic. You should remember, tetrahydrofolate become methyl tetrahydrofolate. So you have one folate cycle. And methyl tetrahydrofolate, when it becomes tetrahydrofolate, it in turn will help the homocysteine become methionine, and that is where the whole cycles are all related with each other is what you need to remember. Now doctor, which patient require a vitamin B12 supplementation? All vegetarians, right? So they are strict vegetarians. मैं दूध भी नहीं पीता हूँ, कुछ भी नहीं करता हूँ, खाली दाल, रोटी, चावल, सब्जी खाता हूँ जो बोलते हैं. So alcohol absorption is also associated with vitamin B12 deficiency. So you should remember doctor, any inadequate intake or a prolonged medication, alcohol abuse, patients older than 75 years and strict vegans, they are all inadequate takers. So that lead to vitamin B12 deficiency. Any prolonged medication, those who use the histamine H2 blocker for more than 12 months, metformin also, those who are using metformin for more than 4 months, उनका vitamin B12 भी गिर जाएगा. जरा देखना, common drug used. Proton pump inhibitor users for more than 12 months, they are at risk of vitamin B12 deficiency. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I am so happy to see 75 online students, doctor. अभी आप कहना है, हम सुनना है, right? हाँ. You have to tell me, I have to listen you. Let us take up the quiz. Yes. Yes, doctor. So please punch your answers and I want to see how are you faring. Yes. Yes. So let me check. Quiz कहाँ है भाई आज का? So every day we have around 20 questions. This is the coronal section which is showing epiploic foramen. You have the epiploic foramen. The superior border of that epiploic foramen. What is the structure that forms the superior boundary of this epiploic foramen? What is your answer, doctor? Question number 1. You all need to punch the answers aggressively, doctor, and also tell all your classmates on the WhatsApp everywhere. Chandrakant, Haider, Amrita, Francis, everyone is proposing D. Caudate lobe of the liver. Excellent, doctor. Excellent. Now, This is a cervical vertebrae. Which of this labeled A, B, C, D out of that, which is having a relation with the third part of the vertebral body? Good to see Madhushri, Sudha Shukla, Argha Saha, all our classmates. Yes. Lawrence, what is your answer? Please mention the question number. Yes. We also have Sargadam Suresh. Badhiya. Vishalakshi is proposing 2C. Madhushri is proposing A. Madhu is absolutely right. It is the structure here through which C. It is the C which is correct. Mithun, Nadh and Sudha Shukla, right? So it is the structure C. From here the vertebral artery, third part of the vertebral artery will be passing. Now doctor, nucleus pulposus of the intervertebral disc is a derivative of the which of these germ layers? Which of these germ layers? Question number 3. Shoot your answer, doc. Yes. Sargadam Suresh, Argha Saha and many more. Fadafat answer bolo. Manoj Shinde is proposing A. Amrita Francis is saying C. Very good. Aizaz Ahmadwani is thinking D. Oh. And Madhu is absolutely right. It is A from here. Right? Notochord. So you should always know this is the annulus fibrosus, this is the nucleus pulposus, and typically you have a neural tube and a notochord, and from that comes the nucleus pulposus is what you have to identify. Now doctor, which of the part of the scapula you can palpate in the infraclavicular fossa among these labels? Yeah, shoot your answer, doctor. Yes. Fadafat bolo. Sargadam says, sir, I am missing your lot of classes. I think Sargadam joined post-graduation. Sargadam Suresh, I remember, was our companion like rocket trader and many more, commandant. Right? So, Sargadam, what are you doing nowadays? So, the answer is B. Chandrakant Haider, Aizaz Ahmadwani, Prachi, everyone is proposing B. Absolutely right. Right? Now, in the following picture, you have a lot of foramina. Which foramina is the one that is carrying mandibular nerve? Right. Mandibular nerve is a very important question. So, you have the quiz link. So, please share the link with all your friends on the WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, Facebook groups. Nowadays, life is all multitude of social places, Instagram, etc., etc. Always our students are our best ambassadors, and I want to see 1,000+ students attending every day. That is a goal, long-term goal. Sargadam Suresh is betting on B. Strongly on the B? Yes. So, Raghav Gupta is also saying A. So, it is B. So, typically you have the foramen spinosum, foramen ovale, foramen rotundum. So, the various foramina of the skull you have to be sure, doctor. It is the foramen ovale through which the ovale male, remember, M for mandibular nerve, A for accessory meningeal artery, right? and they are the ones which pass through it. Now doctor, a patient came with inability to move his fourth and fifth digit, cannot hold a pen. He was not able to hold a piece of paper if you are trying to drag it out. Froment sign, everything positive. So what is your answer, doctor? Yes. Which is the site of the humerus which got affected that led to this nerve injury? Yeah, what is your answer, doc? Which is that site which is affected? Yes. Should your answer? Sunil Yadav is proposing D. Right? Very good. Satya Snigdha, everyone. Ulnar nerve is passing close to that. Excellent. Oh, Vishalakshi is clean bowl, not that high. Ulnar nerve is not that high. Right? So, next question, doctor. A 5-year-old child presented with absence of thymus, hypoparathyroidism and tetany. Which is the area marked in this which is not well developed is a very important question. Yes, doctor. Give one confident answer. Yes. So, please mention the question number. Yes. Raghav Gupta, Shivendra Rai, Arga Saha, everyone is proposing C. That's right. Thymus gland is originated from the third pharyngeal pouch is what you should remember. Now the area which is being marked over here, if there is any lesion in that, what will that lead to? In this coronal section, in this area, if there is a lesion, what will that lead to? Question number 8. Yes. Should your answer? Yeah. So, question number 8. Raghav thinks it is Huntington's chorea. What is your answer, Lawrence? Vishalakshi thinks Alzheimer's. Paralytic agitans. Lawrence Jindavad. That's right. So, it is a basal ganglia which is a typical area which got affected. The muscle which is labeled here in this cross section in the base of the skull, right? So, suppose if this muscle is affected, good to see SEMA after a long time, right? Satya is proposing question number 9. Question number 9. So, what is your answer for question number 9, doc? Yes. Question number 9. 1 minute. One minute, doctor. I lost. Yeah. Now, the question number 9, let's see the answers. For a short phase, I lost the internet. 1 minute. Yes. Um, Good. Most of you have said D versus B. D versus B. Anybody said A? Vimal said, Dr. Vimal said A. I am very happy. Dr. Vimal said A. So, doctor, it is protraction. They are the pterygoids, doctor. So, masseter, temporalis, medial and lateral pterygoids, they are the main muscles. All of these except the lateral pterygoids, they act as elevators. So, protrusion is the function of lateral pterygoid assisted by medial pterygoid. Retraction, matlab you are making jaw move backward, right? So, that is the function of posterior fibers of temporalis, deep part of masseter and the geniohyoid and digastric. Elevation is the function of temporalis, masseter and medial pterygoid, not lateral pterygoid. Lateral pterygoid ko nahi rehta, elevate karne ka. Depression is the function of mylohyoid, digastric, geniohyoid, and of course, if you are watching somebody very beautiful walking in the reading room, your jaw gets dropped down by the force of gravity also. Be very sure. Now, this is the typical medial and lateral pterygoid. Now, doctor, the arrow marked structure which you are seeing here, what is this structure? Is it hippocampus, amygdala, mammillary body or insular cortex? What is this structure which is being marked here? What is that structure? Yes, doctor. So, Raghav Gupta is proposing D. Yeah. Then Madhu proposes insular cortex. Yeah, D. Sargadam proposes mammillary bodies. Vimal says insular cortex. Yes. Most of you are fighting between C and D. But nobody said B. Oh, Santosh, Manikandan, Jindabad. Excellent, excellent. Santosh Manikandan rightly said amygdala. The muscle which is being marked in this diagram is supplied by which nerve? By the nerve whose nucleus is situated in what level? Ba. Three things you should know. First of all, this muscle is supplied by which nerve? Is it medial rectus or lateral rectus? Medial rectus. Medial rectus is all recti are supplied by? Come on. Oculomotor. Oculomotor nucleus is there in midbrain. Midbrain is at the level of? Midbrain is at the level of? Superior colliculus, Argasaha, absolutely right. Right? That is important. Now, doctor, in this cut section to the ischioanal fossa, where is the pelvic diaphragm? Do you like to call A, B, C, D? Which is called pelvic diaphragm? B? Easy question. So examiner बहुत मेहनत करके एक फोटो दे के उसको arrows डाल के बहुत कोशिश किया मगर even a school kid will recognize where is the pelvic diaphragm, right? That is a B. So doc, you should know that this is the urethral hiatus, vaginal canal, rectal hiatus, right? Then you have a puborectalis, pubococcygeus, iliococcygeus and the coccygeus. और एक बार बोलो coccygeus, iliococcygeus, pubococcygeus, puborectalis, and these are the three hiatuses: urethral, vaginal, rectal. Okay, बराबर समझना. So if you take at the level of the anal level में लिए तो the lateral wall is typically formed by the obturator internus and piriformis, and the pelvic floor is being formed by levator ani and coccygeus is what you need to remember. This very important part of the anatomy, doctor. Invariably asked. Tomorrow some of you are going to become great time surgeons, right? In this cross-sectional image, the axons of these neurons which are pointed with the arrow, they are inhibitory on what? The axons of these neurons are inhibitory on what? Yes. Shoot your answer, doctor. One strong answer. What do they inhibit? First of all, histologically, what are they? अगर वो recognize करे तो answer आएगा. Manoj Shinde thinks C. Amrita Francis, Jindabad. Amrita Francis reminds me rocket trader, right? He also like a missile, tuck, 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 used to give the answers. I'm so proud the other day he came and said he got MS surgery in Gujarat University. So, every day evening, if you are participating regularly, your general confidence badna hai, doctors. That's important in exam. Purkinje cell gives an inhibitory cell on the central nuclei in the cerebellum, and this is the efferent axon that leaves it, right? So, that is how. A girl complains of acute abdominal pain, tingling sensation of the limbs. She has a history of eating paint from the wall of a newly built house. Then which is the enzyme deficient? See, is leading to her symptoms. Is it enzyme A, enzyme B, enzyme C, enzyme D, enzyme E? Which is the one which is affected by your paint में क्या रहता है doctor? Lead रहता. Lead जाके किसको inhibit करता? That's what examiner is asking. अगर ये आंसर रॉन्ग बोले तो मैं रोऊंगा, राइट? क्योंकि पॉर्फायरिया इतना चीर के फाड़ के हम डिस्कशन किया ना डॉक्टर, राइट? सो यू वांट टू से एंजाइम ये ना, मधु, प्राची, सरगदम, मैं रो रहा हूं, संतोष मणिकंदन जिंदाबाद. Santosh Manikandan is our Bahubali for today's evening. Every day one Bahubali will emerge. So, तलवार के तार के जैसे जवाब दे रहे संतोष मिया. Where are you from? Which part of Tamil Nadu? Santosh Manikandan, Coimbatore, or from where are you from? So, doctor, it is the B. So, you should know glycine succinylcholine is allosynthetase. That is not inhibited. Aminolevulanic acid to porphobilinogen is L-dehydratase. That is inhibited by the lead. That's the reason it is called plumboporphyria. Coimbatore. While I take a vacation to go to Munnar, I will definitely drop in Coimbatore. I will have a hot coffee. And from there, I will travel to Munnar next time when I go for a vacation. With Santosh, coffee with Santosh. Now doctor, porphobilinogen become hydroxymethylbilane, that is acute intermittent porphyria. Hydroxymethylbilane to uroporphyrinogen is uroporphyrinogen co-synthetase, that is congenital erythropoietic porphyria. Uroporphyrinogen become coproporphyrinogen, and that is uroporphyrinogen decarboxylase, which is porphyria cutanea tarda. Coproporphyrinogen become protoporphyrinogen, and coproporphyrinogen oxidase is there, that is hereditary coproporphyria. Protoporphyrinogen become protoporphyrin, that is called variegate porphyria, which is protoporphyrinogen oxidase. And protoporphyrin become heme by the incorporation of the iron, and that is ferrochelatase, and that is erythropoietic porphyria. Telangana में अभी बोनालू सीजन चल रहा है. Like बोनालू अम्मावारू, that is Kali, comes and then says, this year good rains, this year good NEET PG. Like that early morning you should wake up, take up this chart. Your roommate is a lazy fellow, he won't be waking up, no? उनके ईयर में जाके बोलना, प्लम्बोपोर्फायरिया आ गया, लेड के वजह से वो होता है एला डिहाइड्रेटेस. दैट फेलो विल से बाबा मैं उठ रहा हूं, I will wash mouth and then come to reading room. So that is how you should, right? Like bonalu kali, you should prepare. So always remember, doctor, memory always is good, health is always good when you are happy. You should be happy while preparing for exam. No role for depression, no role for sadness. इसमें sad होने की बात क्या है? सब लोगों के लिए एक ही कर्मा है. Karma to remember lot of single liners, memorable things. 6 mahine, enjoy the game, right? It won't come back once more. So, renal biopsy mein, what is this lesion? What is this lesion? Where you have a lot of nodular lesions, right doc? Yes. So, hamare bonalu jatra ko, please bring your classmates also. Each of you should bring at least one more classmate from tomorrow. I should see 150 students, not 73. Right? So that is a promise so that we have more fun. Kimmelstein, Wilson's lesion. Absolutely right. Aizaz Ahmad Wani, Chandrakant, Haidar, Amruta, Pooja, everyone DM nephrology. Right? 43-year-old male presented with a facial puffiness, history of frothy urine, acute kidney injury suspected, renal biopsy had been done, immunofluorescence is shown, then electron microscopy is shown, right doc? गौर से देखो, दिल लगा के देखो, diagnosis क्या है? Is it membranous glomerulopathy? Is it membranoproliferative glomerulopathy दिख रहा है? Minimal change disease दिख रहा है? FSGS दिख रहा है? क्या दिख रहा है? Bonalu, yes. Membranous. Lawrence, absolutely right. Sargadam also said, yay. Sunil Yadav says, yay. Aizaz says, yay. Absolutely right. Now, doctor. 17-year-old male presented with severe intractable diarrhea. His bone marrow renal biopsy was done. Bone marrow and renal biopsy. This is bone marrow. This is renal biopsy. आपके लिए इलेक्ट्रॉन माइक्रोस्कोपी भी. व्हाट इज द मोस्ट पॉसिबल डायग्नोसिस फॉर दिस? इज इट मल्टीपल माइलोमा? इज इट एमाइलॉइडोसिस? इज इट यूरेट नेफ्रोपैथी? इज इट लिम्फोमा? आपको क्या दिखाई दे रहा है इसमें? या फटाफट बोलो डॉक्टर. सो डॉक्टर साहब बोल रहा है ये, Sudha Shukla says ye. Aizaz Ahmad Wani says ye. Oh, sorry. Ye is shown. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought that was not there. Multiple myeloma, doctor. These are all plasma cells. Multiple myeloma is called plasma cell cytoma. And this is the typical amyloid deposition. That's right. Very long story. 35-year-old, history of high-grade fever, tonsillitis, cervical lymphadenopathy, peripheral smear mein lymphocytosis, monospot test negative, tonsillectomy was done, large cells mixed with lymphocytes, CD20 positive, EBV positive, CD79A positive, background cells are CD3 positive, very important clue. Cells are negative for CD15, very important. And histology is being shown to you. Right? Histology is being shown to you. So now the question comes, what is, oh my God. Arey bhai, answers laga ke diye to kaise? Why are you, where is the answer-less question? Don't do that next time. Huh? Be careful. So doctor, this is EBV positive diffuse large cell B cell lymphoma. That is the story. Right? Now doctor. Itlundale. Answer lekunda undale. Right? Jara usko. A new marker for lymphoma is being shown in the figure. Especially useful if this tumor, if this lymphoma, whose histology is being shown to you, is cyclin D1 negative. So लिम्फोमा, लुकीमिया डॉक्टर, आज रात आप घर जाने के बाद onlinembbs.com के वीडियो लाइब्रेरी में क्या रिवीजन करेगा? Leukemia, lymphoma. See an end for that. Don't procrastinate. कल करेगा, आज करेगा, अब बोला है कबीर ने, सो हम कबीर के कहावत से आगे बढ़ना है. So that's good. Aizaz Ahmed is proposing A, SOX 11, absolutely right. So SOX 11, it is a mantle cell lymphoma. On histopathological examination, lymph node is being shown. What is this zone is called? Do you like to call this germinal center, marginal zone, mantle zone, paracortical zone? Histopathology mein, what is your identification? Yes, doctor. You like to say marginal? Marginal is Lawrence better. Vimal, only Vimal is saying marginal, right? Then Seema bulb, Seema tubes is saying B. Then Madhu is proposing C. Madhu is barabar bol rahe. Ritu Raj also Jindabad. So it is mantle zone, doctor, mantle zone. Now, in this liver biopsy, what is that special stain which is being used? ये तो आपको साड़ी के जैसे दिख रहे हैं, लखनऊ चिकन साड़ी के जैसे दिख रहे हैं. विमल क्या बोलेगा सुनेंगे. विमल शर्ट्स, विमल सूट्स. Yes, what is your answer? That's right. Ritu Raj is rightly saying sweets reticulin stain. Amrita are also right. Absolutely. This is called reticulin stain. Now, doctor, that brings us to the end of the evening. So, thank you very much for all of you for coming, enjoying, and those who have not yet subscribed in our top NEET PG in 120 days, take a chance to give a call to our helpline, and you will get the best discount. You will never imagine, can this be so cheap? Utna best price mein you will get a opportunity to enjoy the entire video library on the onlinembbs.com. See you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thank you.